Alright. Let's get this show on the road. Launch game. Turn on the desktop audio. Woo! Oh, hi. So last time we did the first, part of the trial. Yeah, Ace Attorney time, hey! So last time we did the first bit of the trial, and Angel, the fucking Angela, she's super fucking sus. Mr. Wright. Huh? What? Are trials always like this with you? Like, you're swimming up from the bottom of a lake about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there. Pretty much. Except today we're swimming in quicksand. So what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently she got called off to the judge's chambers. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth. So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth. I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a youngin', at least. Officer Marshall? Thought I'd come take a look, see at how the trial's going. And looks like I'm late. It's the cowboy man. We got the home range locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh? What is going on over there, anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge. Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example. Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf. You don't say. Now don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day too. Saw she was wearing a red muffler. What? At the awards ceremony that afternoon, Edgeworth seen it too, I'd reckon. What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken. Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. Sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. Look, I have a bad feeling about this. So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright? If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Ooh-wee! Thanks. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I think I'm slightly... I don't think congested is the right word. But it'll probably go away soon. I did wake up not that long ago. Phoenix Wright swimming in cum. I can't believe you said that, Mara. Oh, we're continuing? We don't get to investigate more? Okay. What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution. Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That's not his voice. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over. Your back is bent. It can't be. This can't happen. I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth. Well then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I had requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable. It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. Excuse me, knock knock. Who's there? What? Huh? What? Who? Huh? What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom. Hey, the temperature rose 5.7 degrees when that man came in. Who on earth is he? Ah, it's you. Wait, what? He was literally just standing there fucking staring, batting his fucking eyelashes. Oh, what voice do I even give this guy? Oh, sorry I'm late, OG. The jurors... the roads... I don't like these pauses. He was staring at us. Sorry I'm late, OG. The roses were packed, it's just me. Long time no see, eh, OG? How you been? Swimming much these days? Ah, hello. No, I've been so busy. Busy, snizzy. Aji, my boy, you have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed. Aji seems to be his nickname for the judge? I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? Aha, so you're Wright, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks? So sorry about our little worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? G is for the judge. I figured it was for the judge, because it's literally just the judge part without the J. You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly. Little worthy. Mr. Wright. You don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Oh, the fucking pauses. Oh my god. Name's Gan, Damon Gan. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this. Hey, that's my sister's muffler. So Miss Star wasn't just seeing things. When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler. But to think that it was stuffed in that exhaust pipe. Oh, and little Worthy's car, no less. I don't like these. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What's this? It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Chief, what kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth, how could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature's there. Miles Edgeworth. That's not fair. On the day of the crime, I had your head in the class because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clean up this mess that you made. This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words. This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. The court accepts this new evidence. But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you have to do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point it at people anymore. Come on, just hurry up and open it. I love these parts where it's the game. Alright. What? Don't scare me like that. I'm the one who's scared. Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off. I think you can still point at people, though it might hurt a bit. Yeah. Unless you cut your finger off, then you can't point at all. I mean, I guess you could point with one of your other fingers. Some people use their fucking middle finger to point, and I'm like, why? You just look like you're flipping everybody off. And this dark red stain, blood? Switchblade knife added to the court record. This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police and this knife? Sure thing, not a problem. Not even a little one, really. Department in disorder. So is this where the badger's gonna come up? This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department. See, what a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department. A detective. That's hush-hush information, Oji. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second. You said 5:15. That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office. Order! Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top-secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright? 2 detectives killed at the same time in 2 different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course. I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well, however, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. Excuse me, special? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Oh, sorry, Rhino, but I can't say that now, not that. We've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something. A muffler. I like that the blood is like different colors. I wonder if that has to do with anything. Maybe? Oxidation? I mean... maybe. This knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's a lot of things that go on at the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue. Let's examine that knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that links this knife to Detective Goodman. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that's had me stumped all this time. So how were things down at the department? There's a small tag on the knife. It says SL92. What's that supposed to mean? I'm not sure, but it reminds me of a similar code. DL6. Maybe it's a case number. That's weird. What? I don't remember where. But I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written on this tag. It wasn't that long ago either. Maybe I should check the court record again. Court record. Well then, I'm gonna really quickly save. The court record. SL92. Oh. This is upside down. Wait a second. Ah, at last, an honest-to-goodness objection. This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? Aha! An honest-to-goodness, what do you mean, Fumaji? This is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92. And this is important, why? Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim. What's this? 6 minus 7s 12 over 2. Gant is just enjoying the court, yeah. Your Honor, it's upside down. Upside down? The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around and what do you get? Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down. SL9. That's the same thing that is written on the knife's tag. Order, order! Well, Chief? Ah, well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto. I win? What game is this guy playing? I'm playing Ace Attorney. This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. It was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. So this knife was stolen? Yes, but on the day of the murder. It was evidence, you say? Was it, in fact, a murder weapon? Nice, nice, nice. Good show, Little Worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. There's evidence from a case long since solved. So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder. And it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Okay, I think it was just oxidation. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen, and why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy, what with Lana's case and all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact. Surprising, isn't it, Aji? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator, do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto. I suppose I could help if you help me by giving me data on your case. Oh, good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing and one thing only. Well, we already know when the victim died. He said 5:15. I assume where the victim was found. That's probably the police department. If a murder happened at the... Unless they moved the body. Because my thought process is that maybe the one who was killed at the police department either was possibly just Goodman and maybe the body was moved. But I don't know. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna ask how the victim was killed. I think that might give us the most information. Maybe the body was moved? I don't know. I only get to know one. I'll go with this one. So, tell me, where was the victim found? Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found, but I can say the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department. The evidence room? Well, wait a second, I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now? Stolen from the department's evidence room. There's the connection between the two cases. seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? Happy we just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. It's not officially linked to this here case, so I can't talk much about it. 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? Murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the very same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. My thought process is that Goodman was killed in the evidence room, and then he was killed in the evidence room, and then his body was dragged over to the prosecutor's office. And I think Angela, I don't know, I think she did it. I think it's her. It's so obviously her. She's so obviously part of it. Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. Heh, you don't say. Well, out with it, Ryder. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention, the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair. Gay. He called them gay. I assume he's talking about Edgeworth and Wright. He called them. If he's not, I'd be surprised because honestly, it took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief, I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet and all. Can we get the information unofficially? He's shipping them. Honestly, who doesn't? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really? Who would have guessed? I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department, okay? If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh, well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. I think the ID number is the best bet because we have Goodman's ID. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 5842189. That's Goodman! That's Goodman! That's Goodman! Wow, that's quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 82... I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right. Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department, 584219. This tells me something. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you? Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. God, the fucking comedic timing in this game. No, it's just, I got confused. And this is news. Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. Okay. The police department, the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time, except it wasn't 2 detectives. Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here. Oh-ho! Is it yours? No, Your Honor. I'm a defense attorney, remember? Why is the judge so like that? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman. Shame on you, Righto. Personal IDs are top secret. Detective Goodman's ID number is 58421189. Whatever he gave you, Edgeworth, you remember what Phoenix always do. And this means what exactly? Huh? Wait, that ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82. I forgot to... You didn't get the first number right again! Oh, howdy. The number the chief of police gave us was 58421189. Wait a second, right? What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The 2 ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that? Oh, sharp as a tack, Righto, sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot. Sal Goodman. Okay, I wouldn't remember that number either, Judge. Yeah, I probably wouldn't either, unless I saw. Yet a detective, Bruce Goodman, was also killed at the police department, in the evidence room, at the exact same time. That's impossible. So what we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time, and in a completely different location. Angela fucking lied, like we expected. Oh, I didn't get to read that line. No, what I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine, but I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case. Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered. Your Honor, the police department has made a grave error in this case. Wait. I said wait. Or didn't you hear me? Ooh. The oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours. What? How dare? We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our officer Meekins who brought you the news. Officer Meekins? I knew that would come up. Hold on. Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait, aha! Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. You don't mean him. According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe. But your officer, he told me. He said that report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident. Detective Bruce Goodman murdered in the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report. Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged. In any case, this is a serious error. Gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy. They're all just coming after him. But sir, you could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence. Then God, his fucking stares. No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy. Oh. What? Oh, he has such a Muppet smile. Now, what was the second rule of evidence law, Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. Connection was just proven by Righto over here. Good job, Righto, my boy. Huh? I was just doing my job. No. No! It seems we have come to the end of this trial. I know we're going through a tough time, Worthy. What with all those rumors? You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December. Why is this witness cornering Edgeworth like that? A lot of people don't like Edgeworth, it seems. I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part. Mr. Edgeworth! Please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened. If it's the last thing I do. You'd better get results this time, really. You have my profound apologies, sir. Poor Mr. Edgeworth. Everyone is so mean to me, Edgeworth ass cheeks. Well, IRL, it depends on which side calls the witness. Yeah, it's whichever one is... Well, I'm not sure how it is in Japan. Because I know this game is originally written for Japan and was originally kind of like a parody / criticism of Japan's court system. I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake I hope it's not decisive. Very well, court is adjourned. Court is adjourned. To be continued. Saving content, please do not turn off your PC. Yes, I would like to save my progress. February 23rd, 2:15 p.m., Wright & Co. Law Offices. Mr. Wright, so, what's going on with the case anyway? I'm a little confused. Huh? Well, let's see, what is going on? The victim, Detective Bruce Goodman, was stabbed to death after 5 p.m. on the 21st. He died in the prosecutor's lot and the police department's evidence room. What's this and the evidence room part? The prosecutor's office and the police department are 30 minutes apart by car. Well, that's what we're going to find out, or try to at least. Alright, let's do it. Glad she's in good spirits, but I'm not sure she's going to be much help with this. Don't be so sure, Mr. Wright. Huh? Look, we're in this together, right? I'll prove that these thick-rimmed glasses of mine aren't just for show. Let's go, science awaits us. February 23rd, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot. Why are you saying munch, munch, munch? You know, I really don't think we should worry about the police department murder. There wasn't even a body found there. Who cares? Yeah, it was only our victim who was killed in their evidence room. No biggie. Besides, my sister would never do such a thing. I know it. That oil drum. Was it empty? Oh, her name is just Angel, not Angela. But the chief prosecutor was brimming with water. My sister erasing evidence at the crime scene? Never! Even though she says they don't get along, Emma really likes her sister. That's not it at all. It's just, we're both professionals at what we do, and I trust her. Big words for a high school student. Well, whether there was blood on the floor or not, the water in that oil drum washed it all away. Hehehe. Ignore the strength of my science at your own peril, Mr. Wright. Huh? What's that grin for? This situation calls for one thing, and that is luminal testing fluid. Luminal? Blood is sticky stuff, you know. You can't just wash it away with a little water. Even if you can't see it, it's still there. But wouldn't the police have already done those tests? Never trust anyone's eyes but your own, Mr. Wright. Just give it a try. Me? Why do I have to do it? I'm a minor. I can't even drink yet. We're testing bloodstains with this stuff, not drinking it. Dude, how are you even carrying it around if you won't even use it? Here, look, I'll lend you these glasses. Huh? You had an extra pair of those things? To test for a blood reaction, just spray the luminol on it. Like this, see? Press enter to spray it on. Okay, let's find some blood stains. Clout glasses. Ooh, that was flash. I can see her eyes shining behind those glasses. So is this a blood stain? It's so... Emma, you're shaking. It's just, this is my first time seeing real blood. Scientific investigation in action. Okay, well, we definitely know that this is a blood stain. But doesn't something strike you as odd? Scientifically speaking, of course. What's odd about this scientifically? The amount of blood. The perpetrator and Detective Goodman fought here, right? Don't you think there'd be a little more blood? I definitely think so. I mean, look at all the blood on the sole of the victim's shoe. It is pretty strange. If they fought here, there'd have been more blood than this. Hey, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna mark up the floor plans when we find the blood stain, okay? See, I'm pretty handy to have around, right? Yeah, and this stuff's pretty handy too. I saved up my allowance to buy that. Luminal testing fluid received from one very proud-looking Emma Skye. We can't be sure that the police will reveal all their evidence in court. Sometimes they fail to mention evidence that doesn't fit with their view of the case. And let's drag that hidden evidence out into the light of day. Yeah! Feels like we're really investigating a crime now, doesn't it? I guess I should give this spray on anything suspicious. Ha. I wonder how that fluid of yours would react to a nice deli box. Miss Star! You only trust your own eyes, hmm? Not bad, you two. This day-old deli box is on the house. Sorry, it's just that kind of lead-in doesn't really get my mouth watering. Saved up? Is it even that expensive? Yeah, I do have to wonder. Also, do you think Emma would watch Rick and Morty? I'd enjoy it, just watch it. It's $20 on Amazon. I mean... Leave her alone. I didn't necessarily say enjoy it, I just said has seen it. Doc, today's trial.
You certainly put me in a tight spot today.
My apologies, Miss Stark, but...
No, it's okay. It was my fault.
Oh, we know.
I witnessed everything from that security room right there. But I was afraid that it wouldn't sound convincing enough, you see. I was wrong to think that. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you lied on the witness stand. That's unforgivable. That's also technically a crime. Like, I don't know about in Japan because, like, I'm not Japanese. But like, in America, that's like lying on the stand. I'm pretty sure is like lying under oath is like a crime. Isn't that perjury or something? Yeah, it's perjury, I believe.
Little girl, don't forget what's important here. Even if the place I witnessed the events from was different, I still saw what I saw.
No, you didn't. Yeah, you can get jailed for lying under oath.
I saw Chief Prosecutor Sky stab a man in cold blood, and that testimony still stands.
I swear it on my honor as a detective, she stabbed Goodman. I know this photograph has something important to tell us, but what? So, you were a detective, weren't you, Miss Starr?
Yes, it was a long time ago. Well, 2 years ago.
That's not that long. That's not that long ago. Mara being fucking gay in chat.
No matter how hardened the criminal, when they faced me, they coughed it up.
Coughed it up?
They confessed. They babbled like babies. You know. I may seem like a demon sometimes, but I can be an angel too.
Well, that is your name. I wouldn't doubt it.
Every day I drag their dirt out of the mouths of suspect after suspect. And before long they called me the Cough-Up Queen.
Oh, and here I thought someone had gotten food poisoning from your lunches. And you were let go or fired?
I felt that I had found my dream job when I became an investigator. And if these prim and proper prosecutors hadn't let me go, I'd still be one today.
Yeah, only Mara being gay. Well, when I said that in chat, only Mara was the one that was being gay.
It's all because of that case, the SL9 incident.
SL9? Wait, she doesn't mean... what do you think about this?
The SL9 incident. It's written on that knife. And on that note. Goodman. Goodman was the head detective in that case, you know?
DL6? Well...
Really? That knife was evidence from that case, the murder weapon. It was due for transferal the very day that Goodman was killed. As I suspected, SL9 isn't over. Not yet.
Do you think you could tell us more about the SL9 incident? What do you think about this? So, is she not gonna... This is all the same. What is this game in the number 6? Well, more like L6. Wait, it's 9. Never mind. I'm a dumbass. Um... Hmm... That's where we found that note. 221 SL9. The SL9 incident. A case that was due for transferal the day of the murder. And the detective in charge of the case was the victim. I wonder what kind of case this SL9 incident thing was. It's kind of hard to guess just knowing the case number. That's about as red as a sports car can get. Yep, it's pretty red, alright. The body was found in Edgeworth's car trunk. And the lock on the trunk was broken, too. So the question is, why did Miss Sky chose his car? So what model car is it? I think it was called a sedan or a coupe or something like that. Those are car types, Mr. Wright, not models. You're a guy, aren't you? You're supposed to... Okay, Emma, hold on. I think you need to read more books. Maybe it is about time I got my driver's license. B block is through here. That's where visitors park. So, Miss Stark climbed over this fence. It seems so, yeah. The fence is 9 feet high at least. Yeah, I guess you're a guy, aren't you? You're supposed to know more about cares. Well, no time like the present. I think I'll give it a little try. Eek! It's okay, don't cry. Maybe there's a Lunchland Olympics team. I mean, she did used to be a detective. She probably has, like, physical training. Well, you're literally a high school student, Emma. Can I not ask you about the... How do I get you to tell me more about the incident? Maybe I have to go find some other piece of evidence. Let's see if we can talk to the... Yeah. February 23rd, Detention Center Visitors Room. Looks like Miss Sky's in questioning. I hope the detectives aren't yelling at her. How did you kill him in 2 places at the same time? Can you imagine? How's she supposed to answer that? Wait a second. Didn't Mr. Gant say they'd arrested a suspect in the police department murder? Let's come back later. Present the note to her, maybe? I did that, and it had the same dialogue as when I presented the knife. February 23rd, Police Department entrance. It's even busier here today than it was yesterday. The detectives are running around so fast they're blurring. I suppose it makes sense. A detective did get killed here after all. So, the evidence room, the scene of the crime. According to the pamphlet we got at the front desk. Here it is. She's like a kid at an amusement park. Oh, a real crime scene. Let's go take a look. Oh, I think I know whose room this is. What's with the decor in this place? It's very eccentric. According to the pamphlet, this is the guard station for the evidence room. So, beyond that door is the evidence room. The scene of the crime. Sure seems that way. Oh. What's wrong? It's those cacti. They're so prickly, so imposing, it's hard to think straight. If you can't handle the cacti, stay out of the desert. What I want to know is, if there is a guard station, where's the guard? I have a feeling I know who he is already. Cowboy man. There's a security guard uniform hanging here. It looks more like a costume than a uniform, honestly. A leather jacket, leather pants, a leather... What was that called again? A punchy, a paunchy, a pinchy poncho. I know, a poochie. Wait, maybe that wasn't it. It's a poncho, but I think I'll keep that information to myself for the time being. I like the lasso in front of the door like it's a trap. Yeah. Look, on the floor, a lasso! Looks like it's set up to trap something. A trap here? Wait, I know. Maybe someone was trying to catch a wild bull in here. But the lasso missed. You sure have an active imagination. Drinking on the job. Looks like there's a video feed from the evidence room here. There's a light blinking below the monitor. It says recording. I bet we could use this computer to check on who went in and out of there. The evidence room is beyond that door. Let's just walk in. It won't open. You thought it'd be open. I think we need someone's permission to go in there first. This is what gas room setup looks like, yeah. Yikes, these sure are prickly. They must be the real deal. I would think that just one big one would be sufficient. These cacti are a lot like my sister, actually. How so? Encased in a cold, rigid shell with spines pointing in every direction. Just like her. I'm not so sure I see the resemblance. It's more an attitude thing than a physical similarity. Emo mode. This swinging door makes the place look like some kind of saloon. But look, it's nailed shut. You can't get in that way. Of course not. If you went in through here, the cactus would fall over. Ouch! I'd say it'd be more like a yark myself. Fucking noise I made. Texas. I think I investigated this whole room. Alright. February 23rd, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. Wow, everyone looks deadly serious here. Well, there was a vicious murder of a detective down at the police department. Yes, but the same detective was also killed at the same time in the prosecutor's lot. It makes my head hurt. Well, first things first, let's go check out the police department crime scene. Yes, you sound dead set on investigating. But don't mess up, or we could wind up dead! I doubt anyone wants more mysteries or dead bodies around here right now. But it doesn't look like anyone's going to help us much either. Can I, like, maybe... Oh, yeah, okay, there we go. Can I, like, spray? There's nothing suspicious here. There's nothing suspicious here either. How could you go wasting a high schooler's allowance? Wasting Emma's $20 allowance. Excuse me. Oh! There's something there. This blood must be from when Lana sprayed her in the eyes. No, my sister isn't the murderer. But she did call you, didn't she? At the time of the crime. And her right hand is bandaged. Hey, just whose side are you on? This has nothing to do with taking sides. So does this mean that Lana's hand had blood on it? This just keeps getting worse. Damn. I wish I could fucking... You say spray her in the eyes. I want to spray Angel in the eyes. Hi. Can I talk to you? No? Oh, hey, I can go in here. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Wow, this place is as classy today as it was yesterday. And I'm sure it'll still be just as classy tomorrow, Emma. Incidentally, Edgeworth's not here. I'm sure he's off to an important investigation. I hope that's what he's doing. I guess we'll have to come back. Nothing came up. Revealing the cum stains of his office. Really rude of you, not gonna lie. Can I, like, present something to you? Why do you have this shoe? Did you take a look at this? You. Yes? You said you wanted some hot tea, right? I don't know. Thanks. She didn't even look at it. You must have to brew the leaves a long time to get rich flavor like this. You pre-infuse the... Yep. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Someone used a marker to write their name on this endless sky. Don't tell me you bring this with you everywhere you go. Well, you never know where something might go down. Just what kind of a world do you think we live in? I can't spray in here. I feel like there's more I need to talk to you about, but I don't know how to get the fucking... I guess I could just try everything. If you think about it, I could have taken that picture from the guard room. But even I get flustered some times. So you went straight to the scene of the crime. I rushed towards the chain link fence in an effort to stop the murder. That's when I took this photo, yes. In other words, 5 minutes after the crime. Those 5 minutes are the whole problem. The hole in my testimony, as it were. The 5 minutes weren't the problem, Miss Star. You lying was the problem. Listen, little girl, I've had my testimony disregarded before, and I wasn't going to have it disregarded again. Just like that time. That time? Where's the letter A on the wall? It's on the other. If we slide, you can see it.
That incident really opened up my eyes to the truth. There's nothing to them. Disposable.
Disposable? To who?
2 years ago, it was the biggest case I'd ever handled. The police and the prosecutors were desperate for decisive evidence. So they didn't solve it? On the contrary. It was solved quite cleanly. The criminal was caught and executed.
Executed? She's even on Mara!
Yes, the criminal got what was coming to him. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. The only problem was, they never did find decisive evidence. Not a shred.
What? But the criminal was executed, right?
On the basis of evidence of a sort. Made up evidence.
What? You mean they executed someone with fabricated evidence? She literally glued onigiri to her hat.
The best part came several months after the trial. Every detective involved with the case was dealt with. Some were demoted to patrolmen, others found themselves out of a job.
And you were one of those?
Myself and one other person you know well.
Wait, could it be?
Exactly, Detective Jake Marshall. Oops, I mean Police Department Security Detail Officer Jake Marshall.
Sorry, okay, the onigiri hat is just not it.
As professional detectives, we investigated that case from every angle. Jake was particularly determined. And then it was over and he was demoted.
Felix is now playing Phasmophobia.
However, he hasn't forgotten, and neither have I.
You haven't forgotten SL9?
There was another side to that case, a hidden side. That's what we're after now. And no one up in their fancy offices can stop us.
Wait! Those lunches you sell?
There's only one reason I come to sell lunches in this accursed office. I come here to meet old friends, boyfriends that can help me investigate.
Miss Star's old boyfriends. How many does she have anyway? Just when all the detectives on SL9 have disappeared, we find new evidence. There has to be a connection.
So, rookie.
What?
Seems like you're serious about investigating this case.
Yes.
Then you should take this.
A Salisbury steak lunch.
I know a certain guy who might help you if you tempt him with this treat.
Excellent for putting Officer Marshall in a good mood. Miss Star. Officer Marshall, is he, are you going out?
Why do you want to know?
I was just wondering what happened to him. A long time ago, when he was helping my sister do cases, he was so nice. He got along so well with my sister, it made me jealous. He was nice to me too back then. This would be when Officer Marshall was a detective. But now he's so cold.
Jake and I are merely cooperating on this investigation. We're putting the past to rest, as it were. Nothing more than that.
I see. Thank you. Officer Jake Marshall. Coward. If being a coward makes no onigiri hat, then yes, I'm a coward. Coward. Okay, now we can go to the police department. This place is charged with frantic energy, as always. Please, huh? Wasn't that... One steak lunch, please. Oh, it's you. Detective Gumshoe. Now's no time for chit-chat, pal. I'm a busy man. What I really need is a steak lunch from Lunchland. Oh, you mean one of these? Actually, it's not for sale. I think I just heard the sound of his heart breaking. The onigiri hat stays on during sex. No, it's no time for despair. We've got our criminal, now we just need evidence. The criminal? You mean... You heard about the stabbing in the police department evidence room, right, pal? On the same day that a detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot, another detective was killed in the police department. And the perpetrator, do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested him, in fact.
It's the biggest scandal. Whoa, that's a nice voice. It's the biggest scandal to hit the station and agents. Everything's topsy-turvy. That's not his voice. But Detective Gumshoe, who was it? Listen, Bal, all I know is I need me a steak lunch pronto. Standing around here talking isn't going to fill my belly. Oh, wait, don't leave. If you want to know more, head on down to the detention center, pal. Questioning should be over, so I figure he's down for there having a good cry. Later. He ran off to the evidence room. With this investigation, I was off to a running start. I hope it's Larry. I don't remember who it is. Oh, that's not where I meant to... February 23rd, Detention Center, Visitors Room. Still, I do feel better about things, a little. I mean, they caught the person who stabbed Detective Goodman, didn't they? Yeah, I guess they did. If it's Larry, who is Larry? Best to not go too far down that road right now. Things will just get confusing. What was that? So that's what I'm saying. Me, a perpetrator. I'd say I was the perpetrator against her. That's what I'd say. Hi, greetings, sir. Wait, I know who you are. Yeah, I forgot who Larry is. Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises? I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir. I've got your report, sir. Officer Meekins, you're a guard here at the detention center? No, sir, I'm not, sir. I'm a little lost patrolman, like a little lost lamb, sir. Oh, I get it. You're here to deliver a report. No, sir, how should I say this? Wait, he isn't... Is he... You, Officer Meekins, you didn't, did you? Oh my god. Perpetrator Officer Meekins reporting, sir! Oh, Larry! Larry Butts. Okay, yeah, I remember Butts. I remember his name being Butts. I forgot his name was Larry. What? Now this is an unexpected turn of events. Jesus Christ. Sir, I'm a patrolman with General Affairs, sir! Sir! Ow, I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. You actually forgot about Larry. I forgot his first name. I remember he was Butts, though. I remembered his last name. Like, once you said Butts, like Larry Butts, I was like, oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, Meekins, please turn off the megaphone. I can hear you fine, Officer Meekins. I had some business with that day, sir, and so I went to the evidence room, sir. The guard station in front of the room was empty, sir. So, normally there's a guard at the evidence room. That's right, sir. Because evidence is kept in the evidence room, sir. Now the security officer was none other than Officer Marshall. Marshall? Then, sir, I happened to glance at the security room monitor. That's when I saw him, sir. A suspicious person in the evidence room. A suspicious person, sir! A suspicious person, yalla! What the heck is this guy doing? So, what happened then? After that, sir, everything went white! I saw red! I blacked out! And when I came to, I was here at the detention center. How long were you out? Days? Might I ask, what happened to your hand? Sir, there was no one to bandage me, sir. So I did what I could to wrap it up, sir. A bandage on his hand, just like Miss Sky. Yet another similarity between this case and the one at the prosecutor's office. First things first, tell us how you hurt your hand. I don't mean to pry, but you are the perpetrator, correct? You killed Detective Bruce Goodman in the evidence room, right? Sir! Please don't look at me with those sad puppy dog eyes, sir! Oh my god, please turn that off. You have to label me as perpetrator or victim, sir!
Then label me victim! I would, but you happen to be in detention and alive, and well at that. Yes, well, that's true, sir. I suppose you could say that.
Did you know the victim, Detective Goodman?
Well, sir, if I had to label him as a stranger or a total stranger,
Oh, God.
then I'd say he leans heavily on the total stranger side.
So you didn't know him?
Sir, I work in a tiny department devoid of light or other creature comforts. I don't know any detectives.
So if he is a total if he was a total stranger, why did you stab him?
Sir, I had no intention of killing him, sir. None.
Oh
Nor do I have any recollection of killing him, sir.
my god. At least someone around here is more confused than I am. Please turn off the megaphone.
About your hand, did that happen during the course of the crime? Oh my god. Well, you see, sir,
Don't you think you should just confess?
But there was nothing I could do.
Nothing you could do.
Sir, to tell the truth, sir, when it happened, when the detective pointed that knife at me, I just hollered, sir. And the next thing I knew, I was unconscious.
Myra, please, I'm...
Myra fucking ears.
The next thing you knew, you were... Huh?
Then when I opened my eyes, I was alone in the evidence room, sir. All alone. Alone because Detective Goodman had disappeared.
What?
Then when I looked down, I was gushing blood from my hands, sir. Oh, the shock. Oh, the sorrow, sir. Can you imagine how I felt?
The victim's body disappeared. That's some story.
So is the blood on the...
I have a thought.
Is the blood that's on the bottom of the shoe
Actually, Meekin's?
I'm thinking that some of the blood on either the bottom or the top of the shoe is actually Meekin's blood.
I don't know if there's anything else I can talk to you about with. Oh, I could, I could show the knife. Officer Meekins, this is for you.
Eek! I'm scared of knives, sir.
It's okay, I just wanted you to take a look at it.
That's it, sir. Last night, sir. That's the one. I was an apple, sir, in my dream, sir, and I was being peeled.
Honest to God, I don't remember any of the small details of these cases, just who the ending baddie is. On second thought, you don't have to look at the knife. He's overreacting to the knife, but I guess he's been through a lot. Okay, I show him this. Officer Meekins, could you take a look at this?
I'm sorry, sir. Really, sir. I have no idea what that is. But you should ask Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
He's passing the buck, Mr. Wright. Takes a special kind of man to pass the buck to Edgeworth. I think I'm done here for now. I was being peeled, yeah. Peeled like an apple. Alright, let's head to the guard station. Or not. I thought that maybe there would be something here, but I guess not. Okay, so I guess we still have to talk to Meekins about something. What am I supposed to show him? That's... Oh my, I didn't even notice his... Oh, now I see what you meant by the ID thing. I see what you mean by the ID thing now. I didn't notice that. I guess more of the evidence, yeah. Let's show the shoe. Officer Meekins, could you take a look at this? Maybe the ID? Do you think you could take a look at this?
Hey! That's it, sir! That's it! That's it!
That's what?
Mine was a blanket till this very moment. But, sir, now I remember, sir.
You mean you remember what happened?
Correct! That card was the cause of it all.
This ID card?
Exactly, sir. That's exactly it.
Oh my god.
Nothing could be more exact, sir. Nothing.
I'd better pry into this one a little deeper. Can you tell me what it is you do remember?
Well, sir, you might say I'm a lost little patrolman. A lost little lamb, if you will. I didn't know Mr. Detective Goodman, who was in the evidence room. And that's why you thought...
Oh, whoops. And that's why you thought he looked suspicious.
Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to show me his ID card.
Well, that sounds pretty much by the book so far.
That's right, sir! That's what I've been trying to tell you!
So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do?
That's the thing! Suddenly he pointed a knife at me!
What?
Sir, I assure you, sir, I was as flustered as you are right now. So I whooped and leapt at him.
Detective Goodman pointed a knife at him.
Do unto others before they do unto you, my own father's words, sir!
What happened then?
Well, my eyes, sir, everything went white. When I awoke, I was here.
Right. So, Officer Meekins, why was it that they arrested you? What do you mean, Emma? Let's look at what we know. Now, Officer Meekins didn't know Detective Goodman, and the victim whom he met at the scene of the crime didn't show his ID card. In other words, we have no way of knowing if the victim was really the victim. And if this body just disappeared from the evidence room, we don't even know if anyone actually died.
That's it, sir! That's what I wanted to say! That is, I did say something along those lines.
Huh? But you still ended up here.
They told me that it had to be him, sir. On that day, at that time. Detective Goodman was definitely in the evidence room. That's what they said.
But you don't remember the events clearly.
No, but the videotape is quite clear.
Huh? Videotape?
From the security camera.
Oh my god.
The crime, my crime, the crime I swore to stamp out. It's there, it's me, it's on tape.
And you waited until now to tell us this?
I'm sorry, really sorry, sir. I'll hand over my badge. I don't deserve it.
No thanks, I have my own. Well, guess we'd better go check out the crime scene. Cool, I'm done here. Ooh. Hey, Mr. Wright! Look who's standing at the Chief of Detectives' desk. It's Police Chief Gant. And you're sure this is all, You know what it means if there is anything missing. Sir, I'm sure it's most likely totally perfect. We checked all of his drawers, lockers, garbage cans, bags, coat pockets, hats. Under his seat cushion, behind his computer monitor, inside his personal coffee machine. I see. Well, if anything does turn up, you call me right away. Deal? Yes, sir. We'll scour the place again, sir. The Chief of Detectives looks a little flustered. Righto, my boy. How you been? Swim much? Oh ho ho, Chief Gant, reporting for duty, sir. Why are you saluting him, Mr. Wright? Oh, he's got his own theme. Is Edgeworth going to be okay? Oh, worthy? Oh, you know, they're doing a little inquiry committee with him. Sounds like an inquisition. Yeah, well, there's no... They've had no end of trouble with the boys since last year. I mean, the incident on Court Lake. It doesn't look good having a top prosecutor sit in the defendant's seat, does it? And you got someone else found guilty in that case, right, Righto? Von Karma. Alleging he was undefeated in his 40 years career. But in court you fixed it, so he was caught for forging evidence. Wait, I didn't do anything wrong. He did forge evidence. In any case, the prosecutor's office is in a bit of a turmoil, you might say. Why, they do just about anything to restore their reputation. Now, depending on what that inquiry committee decides, it could be bad for Worthy. What? It's downright odd, I tell you, the detective getting killed on their turf, too. I mean, they're being the prosecutors, I assume? Scientifically speaking, it's impossible. Yes, but that's what the evidence is saying. Goodman was stabbed in 2 locations at the same time. That's what it says. What evidence is this? Now, Righto, I can't give away all our secrets just like that. This in particular, well, it's a little sensitive and I can't talk about it. I wasn't expecting much anyway. You know, one thing I hate most of all is hiding stuff. Secrets, can't stand them. But you know, it's a full-time job just keeping the chief of detectives' trap shut. He was the one you were picking on earlier. Huh? You saw that? Whoops. I wonder what it was that he wanted the chief of detectives to do. Let's see if we can kind of discreetly ask him. Kind of discreetly ask him. Just wonder, could you take a look at this? Sorry, Righto. I'm through with that stuff. Through, I say. Go find that guy who can't seem to sit still out there. The busy one. The guy who can't sit still? Does he mean Detective Gumshoe? Either him or the dancing blue badger. Okay. Wet enamel shoe bears traces of blood from Goodman and Lana Sky. Not that. Discreetly ask. Oh, I didn't even do that. You gonna BRB a second? Okay. Okay, so about the evidence of the... I guess I'm gonna just move for now. Nope. What am I supposed to say to you? just gonna run through this stuff I got at this point. That one, I did. None of this seems to be working. Yeah, okay. What? Discreetly ask him. Oh, sorry, you had to see that. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that makes sense. I would have had to do that. What exactly did the chief of police want you to do? Whoop. Well, see over there? That's Goodman's desk. He wanted me to check for anything that might be a clue. They took away every last piece of garbage in the trash can. So nothing belonging to Detective Goodman is still here. Of course not. Well, except for this. What? You kept something? Sure, why not? It's not important. He didn't even finish writing it. It's a lost item report, but it's only half complete. A lost item? Did Detective Goodman lose something? The date on it is February 21st. Better make a note of that just in case. Can only be submitted to the chief of police. I should really get back to investigating the police department crime scene. Okay. Now we can go. Hi, welcome back. Okay, I guess I still have to talk to... maybe you? Now I present this? No. Is there anything else to examine? I already looked at you. This is the police mascot. This is the Blue Badger, the future star of the police force. The design's a little changed from the one outside. Well, the Dancing Blue Badger TM is still under development, you see. You have it trademarked? Absolutely, it's cutting-edge stuff. Very now. I shipped this doll here to my daughter, and she burst into tears. I'll show her the moving mock-ups outside then. You'll give her nightmares. That's me, one of the detectives. He's mumbling something to himself. I know. The killer used a cassette tape. What a crafty trick. That gunshot was a fake. This is good. No one will expect a cassette tape in this day and age. He's not writing a report. He's writing a novel. Yeah, Shock. Oh, okay. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Well, I never thought the day would come when Wright asked me for help. I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room. Now, Righto. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't need to investigate after all. Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Huh? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Can I have $50? Knock yourself out. It just goes to show you never know until you ask. And for you, here, you can borrow this. Huh? Hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it? That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir, it's an honor. You just run along and do your best now. Later, folks. He's writing Phoenix X Edgeworth fanfic. It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We get to go into the evidence room now, sir. I think this place is a bad influence on the girl. Guard station. Oh. I have to actually examine the door. The evidence room is beyond that door. And we have the ID card from Chief Gant. Let's just walk in. It won't open. The card reader is turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well, what's made my bambina sky so gray? Did you change clothes? Officer Marshall? Why does it have to be him? What's that? Why does it have to be him, look for? As you may have surmised, this here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene. Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeah, did he change clothes? Yeehaw! Well, what you standing there for? Get along, little doggies. The crime scene's awaiting. Looks like the card reader's on again. Over here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy, but I got no mind to tangle with you hombres. You're busy then. Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. That smell? Reminds me of Texas. So, Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? No, I just saw a special on television the other day. This is from my baby. Yeah, Miss Starr. What's this? What's wrong? A filet steak lunch. I see. Him facing forward like that makes him look like a bloodhound. I don't see. I wonder what it means. Steak lunch given to Officer Marshall. Alright, Bambina, you win. Ask him anything. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. Guard station. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. That poor little doggy. Poor guy, I keep getting his name wrong and calling him Meekly. He told us something. He said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station. Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? So, what were you doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. Note, he was riding down the highway on his horse named Zippy. There's no need for people here anyhow. These newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. You mean the security camera system? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know? He actually has a horse? I'm betting he doesn't. I'm betting he just calls his car his, like, steed or something. I just think it would be very funny. Sorry, I was taking a drink. Put the cap back on. Miss Starr told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. I bet he has one of those plush horse heads on his stick. He just has that, but like attached to his car. Not even like the plush head part, but the whole stick included. It's just like heavily duct taped to the front. It was always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of the crime. That's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Starr, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved in the record books, but it smells like a bad game of poker. I can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it, anyway? heard the name so many times, but no one tells us what's actually happened. Hold on. Now, some things you better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. 2 days ago? The day of our case? That's right. The evidence transferals. Edgeworth was talking about the transferals, too. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. Only 2 of them? There must be a dozen. Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them about as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones that Officer Meekins mentioned. Grown man ain't eating his vegetables. Nothing happens. The tapes are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman, are they on one of those tapes? I reckon they might be. With the security guard, and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. That's the card reader by the door. The card reader leaves a record of every ID card that passes through. Oh! So this is the ID card record. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambina, I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to the case yet. Mr. Wright, I saw a number on that record just now. I've seen that number before. Yeah, it was Goodman's. Maybe there's some way I can prove that record is tied to the stabbing. I don't like cauliflower either. I have not actually had cauliflower. Sorry, but could you explain what this whole transferal thing is about? We keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. That's not his voice. All 7 numbers stick out so much there. Yeah. They're kept here under the presiding detective supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? That's not this, whatever. So what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It goes to sleep forever in the underground vault at the county sheriff's department, Bambina. I'm saying Bambina. It's almost like broccoli texture-wise. I also don't like broccoli. I don't think I've ever eaten broccoli. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever, dead. Never to be reopened again, never to be reinvestigated. And that happened to SL9 2 days ago. See, this is the victim's ID card. The one that was on the ground in the parking lot. The number on this is 5842189. Officer Marshall, show us that ID card record again. All 7s. So I'm guessing the bottom number must be Meekins. Look, the 4th number. It's a perfect match. It was used at 5:14, right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them gods in the world. So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked the man to display his ID card. So you asked Detective Goodman to show his ID card. What did he do? That's the thing, suddenly he pointed a knife at me! If he had his ID card then, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. I want to look at it. So we know that's Bruce Goodman. There's 2 numbers that show up twice. One at 450 and one at 514. That's suspicious. February 23rd, evidence room, sector 3. It's quiet. The investigation must be over here. So this is the evidence room? It really is kind of like a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Yo, free fishing pole. I'm sorry? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So it is true what I heard. Righto, please, do I look like a selfish man? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50? I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's desire. Knock yourself out. Yeah, it's true. So, Chief of Police again. Will loan anyone $50, even me? Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was putting in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. First of all, you'll want to have this. I have a scene of the stabbing of a detective at the PD. I want to look at that now. Hold on. Oh, it's a map. Boss for a day. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day? That's right. It's an honor. After all, the murder took place here, right in the police department. But if you're boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. I'm adamant, though. I'm going to take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here too, Detective Gumshoe? Of course. I am a detective, after all. They gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? I'll always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the inquiry committee now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess-up in court today. I see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. That case? Yeah, that case. The SO9 incident, of course. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. Maybe we can get him to tell us more about the case. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using their ID card? Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. Well, I'm on my 3rd card since entering the force already. How long have you been a detective? That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint. Exactly, pal. The lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. Wow. So the only locker we can open is our own. Funny, they look like normal lockers. These are the latest models. There's a trick to the handles, see? The handles? On the other side of the handles is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, zap, you get a shock. That's what up in my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people in the force that don't know about the fingerprints locks. Evidence locker added to the court record. I'm gonna examine the room. Wow! Look at this big pile of junk in the corner. That looks like a car door. There's a pair of handcuffs attached to the frame. Maybe the guy they caught was some sort of escape artist and he got away. Hey, that's one of those human profiles for range testing. He's been shot square in the forehead. Better him than us. There's something sticking out of here.
Looks like a shirt. I guess it must be evidence for some case. Wonder if Detective Gumshoe put this here.
There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of slub. I'm not responsible for the evidence here. That said, I bet that evidence locker was opened recently.
How do you know?
If you leave things hanging out like that, the evidence gets dirty or ripped. The guard checks on that kind of stuff and notifies the detective responsible. How many times have I had him breathing down my neck about some silly evidence?
Sounds like Detective Gumshoe leaves evidence hanging out a lot, too. I bet he doesn't tuck in his shirt under the trench coat, either.
You're gonna talk behind someone's back, don't do it right in front of them, pal.
This place is stuffed with evidence. Stuffed with dreams. I'm not so sure about the dreams. Won't open. Did you really think it would?
Hey, pal, our security is side deck around here.
Some sort of bulky equipment is gathering dust here. What a sorry-looking fishing pole that is.
That's my personal pole. I never did get around to using it.
But I've seen that somewhere before.
Right, pal, that's that metal detector. The one that led to the solving of that case out on Gourd Lake, remember?
Oh, right. Wow, that feels like it was ages ago. Yeah. And, I don't think I've seen this one before.
Oh, that's a bug sweeper. I'm sure it will come in handy in solving some case sooner or later.
That cheap-looking box?
You can't judge a person or a machine by their cover. You gotta look at their heart.
Machines don't I mean, that machine doesn't have a heart. Why is it in the evidence room? This is, I don't know. Personal storage. That's a bloody handprint. What's this? Blood? It's a little worn, but that's definitely a handprint here. Looks like someone tried to swipe it off. Mr. Wright, what if there are other bloodstains left in the room? We should use our testing fluid to check it out. What is the saw and paint doing here?
Since the dawn of time, true art has always been a war against oppression.
True art? I noticed that there's blue and yellow paint here. Perhaps we're witnessing the birthplace of the Blue Badger.
Well, you might say this is my studio.
Here? In the evidence room? Wow, someone must have broken something big to make all these pieces. Detective Gumshoe, perhaps?
There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of hooligan. That's apparently from the case.
The case?
The SL9 incident, pal. See the sticker on one of the pieces there?
Another piece of SL9 evidence. Take a closer look. I wonder what shape these pieces were in before whatever it was broke. You wanna try to put it back together?
Good luck, pal. That's no job for amateurs. Well, I spent a good 3 hours on that before I had to give up.
That's why I always carry around a tube of glue. Well, this piece looks like the bottom. Let's try putting the rest in place. Ooh, puzzle. No. Oh, I can rotate. Q and R. Yeah, okay, it wasn't rotated. No. Nah.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be... Nope, that's... I meant to rotate. Yep, so it is this. I presumed, but I guess not. Oh, okay, like that. That didn't look like it should connect, but... Huh? Well, I think we did it, but some of the pieces are missing.
Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. The problem is finishing it.
Were some pieces stolen? I bet they were missing to begin with.
Still, it doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar.
I kind of understand how it got broken. Jar pieced back together from fragments found at the crime scene. A piece is missing. Yeah, the piece that seemed to have most of the blood, probably. Someone left a glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe?
There you go, pal, making me out to be some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from
The case, you know. You mean SL9? It does have a tag on it. Yeah, or shatter the pieces on impact, yeah. Look, this one's open, and the red indicator light above the door is lit.
That locker is coated with Detective Goodman's fingerprint.
Detective Goodman's locker? Are you sure it's okay to leave it open like that?
Well, it'd be hard to get it open again if we closed it.
It's empty. They must have taken the contents elsewhere. Alright, so I think I've done that, so now... Whew, that's a lot of blood. There must just have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. Not a professional. What's your opinion, Detective?
That blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien.
This proves that something really happened in front of this locker. I'll make a note of it on the floor plans.
Hey, if you didn't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked.
Damn it, this whole thing is full. Hi.
This is my crowning achievement, my masterpiece, you might say. That's a pool of blood, damn. Yeah. But art is always misunderstood, pal.
Art?
It was dancing proudly on the day of the awards ceremony, but there were a lot of people coming and going after the ceremony, so they took the blue badger away for a while.
Really, why?
Oh, they said it was shameful or something like that. Shameful! I toiled night and day.
I sympathize with Detective Gumshoe, but I can see why they moved it. Oh yeah. Did you take a look at this? This is the ID card record of the people who came in here on the day of the stabbing.
Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who came in here at the time of the murder. Whoa!
Well, what is it?
That second number.
It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe?
Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth.
What? Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Edgeworth of all people, yeah. Hey, look. They're hard to make out, but there's some dark red stains here. Looks like blood. Do you think Detective Goodman's blood somehow got on this when he was stabbed? Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. The jar was evidence in the SL9 incident. That might be when the blood got on it. Everyone is out for his blood, like damn, yeah! Oh, he's not here. Well, let's go ask you. Mr. Meekins, could you take a look at this? Oh. Bro. Oh, okay, I still gotta go talk to... Gumshoe.
Detective Gumshoe Goodman's note and that switchblade knife. I bet Edgeworth was the most surprised of anyone.
Because of the SL9 collection.
That was Mr. Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared.
But why would evidence from that case turn up now? I see.
I guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on that case.
Say one thing's being irritated as you picture evidence and nothing about I say nothing. That's fine. I bet it's fine, pal.
can't open the lockers. Whatever. You can't open the lockers if your fingerprint doesn't match. If you can open it, they'll give you 50 cents.
Note, the police department lacks faith in its lock system.
After all, Detective Goodman was stabbed here after opening his locker. But at the same time, he was found dead at the prosecutor's office.
Yep. That's... Yeah, let's investigate this. The tag says SO911. I guess this is another piece of evidence from that case. You know, I never did care for the word tag. It's confusing. Huh? What's so confusing about that? Do you know how many other words sound like that? Bag, gag, nag, lag, zag? Zag? Is that a word? Do you challenge me? What, are we playing a word game now? Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I think one of the handles must have broken off too. Huh? This thing doesn't have a bottom. That's weird. I wonder which side is up. Better yet, what's the purpose of a bottomless jar? At least it doesn't collect dust inside, right? Decoration? Wow. I'm so glad I can check this.
Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Mr. Edgeworth got the other day.
Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe?
Of course, pal! I got an award for diligence myself.
Ah, congratulations. I was wondering, why is the award a shield? And why is it broken?
Oh, there's a reason. I'll tell you what it is later.
Apparently he's forgotten.
Found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stuffed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Whoa, wait, I mean, sure, of course, someone else really did it. Someone who must have a grudge against Mr. Edgeworth.
Can I present this to you as well?
Sheriff's back in a while,
Yeah. It's neither wild nor west here, haha, but that and this are two different things entirely. I guess so, huh? I'm lost. Looks like we need some evidence to get anywhere with this guy.
Hmm.
Probably don't. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, how to. Do you have anything to say? No. Just some piece of evidence I needed to look at that I didn't. ID 59. This got his own ID number wrong. So we need to find the two people? What do you mean the two people? Two people from the numbers. Right. Hmm. Shouldn't I have anything more to say? Oh, you do have more to say. Oh my god. Yeah, I asked Meekins. He didn't recognize it.
Now that was a bloody violent case.
Violent, so it was a murder.
A serial killing.
A serial killing? Maybe I don't want to get involved in this after all.
But the killer made a mistake and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him.
And this was 2 years ago?
That put Mr. Edgeworth right in the spotlight and started the rumor mill.
Rumors? About forged evidence.
It was supposed to be that all cleaned up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is.
Huh? What do you mean?
Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see?
So that switchblade knife.
The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker.
Oh, whoops. The victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself. Gumshoe and Emma and Nick are all morphing together into a slime creature. What? Is there still more with you? What am I missing? Makes a jar. There are two things that bother me. One, why are some of the pieces missing? Two, doesn't it seem a little unstable? No wonder it broke. I'll make sure to remember that next time I make a jar. Maybe there is somewhere else I can go. he's not here. Where am I supposed to go? So let's see, SO9. 221. I assume that's because what is there like 21 pieces of evidence maybe? What did this say? Date lost. No, that's the date it was lost. Bruce Goodman, 5-9. Item lost. Status report. Could you take a look? This is ID card. Yeah, I already know that's Edgeworth. Yeah. I just Gumshoe know Edgeworth's ID number off the top. Yeah, he doesn't even seem like he would remember his own. Do you want a clue on what to do? Yeah, I'll take a little clue. I'm a bit stumped here. See, like, see Edgeworth so many times to the point he knew. The magic penny. The luminal thingy again? Oh, on the, room? The magic penny, what? Oh! Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch the spot if he fled out the door. This just might be something significant. Hey! That's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, Belle. What, this? It's called luminal testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? Huh? I'd like to get some too. I'll just borrow 50 bucks from the chief. Where do you get this, Emma? I always buy it by mail order. Well, I'd better jot this down in the floor plans. Wait, did he not get the penny earlier? What? What penny? What? Is there a penny I missed? Examine.
soft lock to run. What? We're just fucking around with you, I see. Okay. Just gonna really quickly go through those because I know it probably won't do anything. Kind of funny that a magic penny probably would be some shitty item in one of these games. Yeah, I would not be surprised. Let's look at the... Whoa! I was trying to check that. Is there any more to look at? I didn't need to. Well, yeah. I came up a different color. Oh, now it's blue. This is someone's right handprint. What? What's the matter, detective? This locker. It's mine. It's yours? Please, you have to help me when they come to take me away. I promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that? You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue. I'll jot it down in the floor plans. I'm counting on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. What? But you're a detective. Hey, pal, look at the time. Was there something you need to be going to? It's just that Mr. Edgeworth's inquiry committee should be letting out soon. What is that poster? I'm going to go give them my report for the day. Might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? The one that says nothing about no problems. Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he can use a report like this. I believe in him. He needs enemies when you've got friends like Detective Gumshoe. I'm off, pal. Later. I should probably see what Edgeworth has to say, too. Now I can go talk to Edgeworth. Yes! High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Who are you? You're the bellboy from the, Mia's murder, right? Ah, yes, my apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave. So long. Is Edgeworth here? There, standing by the window, a teacup in his hand. Right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Mr. Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Yes. He brought me the latest information, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently, a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info's on the other side, Edgeworth. Poor Mr. Edgeworth, I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. Edgeworth's new boy toy? Oh my god. So, how did the inquiry committee go?
Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error during the investigation.
Concealing evidence?
Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again.
Again?
I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago.
Are you okay for the trial tomorrow?
Well, I'm still the presiding prosecuting attorney, however...
Something happened?
They gave control of the investigation over to the police department.
The police department?
Yes, any further investigation of this case will be directed by the Chief of Police Gant. I can do nothing but wait for his results.
I see.
Why, I ask you, why? All along I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still...
Wow, I've never seen him this out of sorts. Oh, right, I better check this now.
As I was saying, What's this? A record of ID card usage?
Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less.
Yes, that's true.
Well, why? Mr. Edgeworth!
Please don't look at me like that! I was asked to go, by Chief Gant, no less.
The Chief of Police?
He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. He told me he wanted to keep it here in the prosecutor's office.
But it was solved, right? It would have to be if the evidence was already filed.
The chief has never one to explain himself. In any case, from the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here.
Can I ask what kind of case it was?
I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case.
Now I'm curious about this other case. I'd better make a note of it. Unrelated evidence. Screwdriver added to the court record.
Stubborn as always, I told you this has nothing to do with the current case.
Just tell me about the case. Alright, Mr. Edward just told you no in a very polite manner. Whose side are you on anyway? Maybe I just show him my best evidence I can get some reaction out of him. Gant fucking sus and then Gant fucking sexy, thanks. Thanks. Thanks, Chad. Oh, oops. Yeah, actually, hold on, let's check the screwdriver, see if I can, The text says AI-16. What's that got to do with anything? Nothing, apparently. At least that's what Edgeworth said. That makes it seem all the more suspicious. Who knows? That might turn out to be the clue that breaks the case. Wouldn't that be nice? It doesn't seem like there's anything else. Nope. Present. Oh. It all has to do with that case you were on, the SL9 incident, and some dark suspicion you were wrapped up in.
You are the man who revived the worst memory of my life. I figured I'd be telling you about this sooner or later.
He must be talking about his father's murder in that elevator. Okay, Edgeworth, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me the truth. Allegations of forgery.
The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gant.
That wacky old coot was involved in that case in the 2 years ago? Yeah.
He was a top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous.
Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth?
What I want to know is why was the deputy chief of police on the investigation. In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We went on guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't... Of course not! I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power toward a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something.
My sister, what?
If you were still studying forensic science...
Huh? Yes, of course. Like, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this.
Luminal testing fluid, Well then, you might have use for this.
Aluminum powder for taking fingerprints?
It's been chemically treated for better adhesion.
For me? Are you sure? We are the enemy, you know?
I have no say in today's investigation. Do as you will. Edgeworth, I'm really... No need to thank me. Here, take your powder and those fingerprint files for everyone involved.
Thanks. How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? Fingerprinting said and fingerprint file received. Well, let's get going. One last investigation.
Right. I do seem to remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere.
I'll do that. Yeah, I'll go ahead and go through with looking at that.
I was wondering if I should call it quits, but I'm gonna do this first and then call it quits probably after. Because otherwise I might forget to do this. February 23rd, Evidence Room, Sector 3. Our investigation turned up a suspicious handprint.
Here, and this blood on the detective's evidence locker.
Let's use the secret weapon we just borrowed.
Right, let's get started. First, choose a finger.
A finger?
Each finger leaves behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger that will have left behind the clearest print.
Really can't tell the difference at a glance.
Quit procrastinating and choose a finger.
Probably the thumb?
Okay, now it's time to check for prints. Let me show you how it's done.
I'm starting to get that sparkle in her eyes.
First, we sprinkle the aluminum powder around.
God, every time Edgeworth and Wright interact, it's so gay, like, help, it's not even subtle. How do you do it?
With enter, see?
Ah, it looks like that did the trick.
Aluminum powder adheres completely to the print. Once the powder is, well, spread, just blow away the excess.
Huh? How do I do that?
With E. Exciting, I know.
Knowing this was probably on, like, the DS or the 3DS, we probably did have to actually straight up blow.
Imagine you're blowing out the candles on a birthday cake. See?
Wow, that looks like fun, and it might take some getting used to.
It's fine, it won't go up your nose or anything. You just pour the powder on thick and blow away the extra. Those are the basics of fingerprinting, Mr. Wright.
It's probably 3DS, yeah. I guess I'd better give it a try. Dust. Blow.
You did it, you found one.
But this looks nothing like a fingerprint.
Now that you mention it, I guess it doesn't.
What does it mean?
I think it means we're out of luck.
Out of luck?
The person who left this handprint must have worn gloves.
Don't tell me you've been wasting our time here.
Hey, calm down. That's just the way it goes sometimes with scientific investigations, but it does seem a shame. While we're at it, why don't we look for other prints?
Other prints?
Looking at the locker door again closely.
Oh yeah, there's like another...
Seems like there are fingerprints outside the bloody handprint as well. Let's see if we can find a clear print.
Fingerprints outside the blood. Yeah, this. Can I just fill up the entire screen? There's no limit. Yes. It just lets you do this. I'm literally just dumping the whole fucking bottle out. Whoa! Yay, a print so clear it's dazzling. Dazzling? Anyway, this print took a lot of effort to find. Yeah, I used to both. Let's match it up right away. So we're not done yet. This is quite a process. Well, there's no point in finding a fingerprint and not knowing who the owner is, right? I guess she's right. Look at the fingerprint data we got from Mr. Edgeworth. Point out the person you think left these prints. Huh? How am I supposed to know who it was? I can make a pretty good guess. The bloody handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means that the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So whose fingerprints would we most likely find on this evidence locker? Gumshoes? I wonder if this was a made-up print, or if they made a digital version of one of the devs. That would be interesting if it was. Aha! So these prints belong to Detective Gumshoe. I mean, it is his locker. Something wrong, Mr. Wright? You gave me the so what look. I guess that's probably because I was thinking so what. Okay, we came up with nothing this time, but there's always next time. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. You gotta roll with the punches, Mr. Wright. Thanks for the sympathy. Wait, if I remember correctly, there was one other handprint in this room. Let's check it out. Yes. This is where we got a luminal fluid reaction, right? Right! There was a handprint here. Okay, wanna try using this? There go her eyes sparkling again. Check for prints. Okay, let's check for prints. That's the spirit. Oh, but I have to warn you about something first. What? The area with the blood was wiped away, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in that area will have been wiped too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, we must try to find prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody hand. Oh, I can just... Oh, okay. I can just dust. Enter dust? What? My only options are dust and back. Oh. This is probably good enough. Oh. Match found. I'm so glad this is fiction where fingerprints actually mean anything. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are they? Whose? Is it someone I know? It's Officer Marshall. Huh? Officer Jake Marshall? Marshall's fingerprints were added to the court record. That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime, Emma. This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminal reaction, the blood and the fingerprints are in the same place. Oh! So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a white blood stain. But why would Officer Marshall? It looks like our investigation is finally turning up some results.
I guess this is what you'd call decisive evidence.
I don't believe it.
Oh. I guess we're gonna be getting into the trial. Yes. Back. I am going to the title screen. And that's where I'm gonna call it there for tonight. Next time we'll continue this trial. So now the fucking marshal is super suspicious. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here for tonight. Thank you for coming. Have a good.